If you are looking for motivation to quit nicotine, this is the video for you. I went from looking like this to this in about 8 months, and my life has changed completely. Just beyond my looks, I have gotten everything that I can ask for and more back from quitting nicotine. And in this video, I'm going to go over that. Now, most people will assume that you only really get health benefits from quitting nicotine, and that's not exactly the case. There's so much that goes into quitting nicotine, right? You get so much back. Most people will think that they are giving up the buzz and the nicotine and that quick dopamine, when all actuality, you are gaining your life back. And I'm going to start listing some of the things that actually changed everything for me. So, the first thing that I noticed when I first quit nicotine was that I was actually able to start focusing again. Now, when you are smoking nicotine, you cannot focus unless you smoke. And even then, it's still pretty hazy because when you are smoking, you are overloading your dopamine receptors with dopamine. You are overloading them each and every day, day in and day out. However many times you hit your nicotine, that is how much damage you are doing. And when I quit nicotine, I was realized that I'm actually able to start focusing again. I can sit down and focus. I don't need a vape, and I'm actually able to focus better than when I was smoking. Now, some people will argue that nicotine enhances your focus, and that is actually incorrect because most people, when they are smoking, they are overdosing on nicotine. When you are trying to focus, it takes a very point small percentage of milligram to actually get the focus enhancement without all the negative benefits. And when you are smoking nicotine, you are getting 10 or 100 times more. So that is incorrect. You are not improving your focus. You are removing the cravings and withdrawals that you are getting. Okay? Now, the next point that I want to make is that I actually was able to get clear skin again. So this is kind of a health benefit, but my acne was terrible when I was smoking nicotine. It was so bad. I was like a grease ball, right? Every time I would touch my face, my it was just covered. Everything was bad, right? So my acne cleared up and I looked more attractive. My hair looked better. The twinkle in my eyes were back. That is just a few of the health benefits, the physical appearance benefits that I noticed when I quit nicotine. Now, another big thing that I noticed is that I actually enjoyed things again. So, when I was in active addiction, the only things that I enjoyed were smoking, jerking off, and playing video games. Those were pretty much the only things that entertained me or I was looking forward to doing throughout the day. So, what I noticed is that I didn't really need nicotine or those BS things to become happy or be satisfied. Now, after 8 months, breathing is dopaminergic. It's like it feels good to breathe, to feel the sun on your back, on your face. And that is not something I enjoyed when I was in active addiction. You actually start to enjoy things again. And that is alone probably the best benefit. And then moving on, this is actually the best benefit. I was just joking. The best benefit about quitting nicotine, I think, is that you are actually ambitious again. You get so much energy, you get so much dopamine to work with. And when you are addicted, you kind of just waste your time. All of that free time that you have when you get home from work, you are just wasting it because you're smoking nicotine, you're content with your life. You probably have other addictions like I did, like weed, porn, video games. You probably have some other addiction stacked on top. Now, when you quit nicotine, you start to see how much time you're actually wasting. You start to notice, hey, like, I'm actually wasting my time right now. And you start to fill in that time with more productive things like working out, reading, or working on a side hustle, things of that nature, and you have so much more ambition. If you think that you are an ambitious person and you just can't get that traction, I'm willing to bet that it's because you are addicted to other things. Your body can only be addicted to like one or two things. And if you eliminate all of your addictions, nicotine included, you will literally see a skyrocket in your ambition and your ability to focus and work. So that's one of the biggest benefits is that I have so much more ambition and energy to tackle my big goals. I don't feel like I'm wasting time anymore. I'm actually able to do things as opposed to before. I couldn't focus. I couldn't think. It was only three things that I could do is porn, nicotine, weed. All that's all I could do. And now it feels like the only thing I can do is work and self-improve because my dopamine receptors have been fixed. Let me provide you with an analogy. So your dopamine receptors work like a seesaw. Let's say this is the good side, this is the bad side. Whenever you indulge in a happy, fun, instant gratification activity, which is mostly negative, you will tip it like this. So, what do seesaws naturally do? They must rebalance themselves. And when it's pushing back like that, it's pushing on the bad side to rebalance. That is when you start to get that negative feeling like you don't really want to do anything. Because when you are smoking and jerking off and watching porn, you are essentially like this. The further you go, the worse it bounces back. The more suicidal, depressive thoughts that you're going to feel, the less you are going to have the energy to do things that you actually want to do. Does that make sense? That is the self regulating dopamine transmitters in your brain at work. Whenever you scroll on social media, you doom scroll, whenever you indulge in some instant gratification activities, that is what's happening. And that is why you can't focus or do things that you want to do. And when you quit nicotine, your seesaw goes from like this to like this, and then the rest of the addictions are like this. You literally improve so much because nicotine is so dopaminergic and it produces so much adrenaline in your body. It's terrible for you. Terrible. The Chinese strawberry flavored chemicals, whatever your favorite flavor is, it's terrible for you. It is ruining your dopamine receptors. And when I quit nicotine, I realized just how damaged they were because I wasn't able to do anything. Literally, driving was so boring. Like, I couldn't do anything. I could not do anything without hitting my vape. Now, moving on to I think my last point of one of the biggest benefits that I realized when I quit nicotine is that people respect me more. And not only that, I respect myself more. I'm actually able to hold promises with myself because I know everybody that's watching this video has probably tried to quit before. I know I had several failed attempts. When you actually go through with quitting nicotine, you are able to hold promises with yourself. You're able to trust yourself again. Because I remember when I was quitting nicotine and I was failing, I would make promises with myself like, oh, I'm going to quit, and then it doesn't happen. Or I would make a promise to somebody and I wouldn't follow through. Or I would say I'm going to work out and I don't because I'm just so used to not holding up my end of the deal when I'm making promises with myself. So, one of the biggest benefits is you will start to trust yourself again. When you say something, you will follow through. People will respect you more for that because now not only are you quitting nicotine, you're not doing vices anymore. You are becoming a better person in the process and you self respect yourself more. I'm not indulging in instant gratification of nicotine anymore. And not only that, I'm able to hold up my end of the deal when I'm making promises to myself. That alone is worth quitting nicotine. And all of the list that I compiled to you just tells you everything that you need to know that you should quit nicotine. And if you're watching this video, I believe that you have what it takes to quit nicotine. Most people that are addicted to nicotine will not watch a video like this. When I was going through the motions of quitting nicotine, I did not watch videos. I did not learn anything that I could about nicotine. I would just say, oh, I'm going to use my willpower. I'm going to quit. I'll just throw it in a cup of water. And then an hour later, all over my search results would be how to unclog water clogged vape, like stuff like that. Or I would go fetch out garbage from the garbage, my nicotine vape. But when I was actually starting to quit, when I actually was leading up to my final attempt that set me free for good, pardon me, I was consuming content like crazy. I was learning as much as I could to prepare for what was going to happen. And I realized that it's not that hard. You have what it takes to become free from nicotine. You have what it takes. I believe in you. 3 to 7 days is all it takes. If you watch my other videos, I go more in depth. 3 to 7 days is all it takes. I'm so sad that most people will go years addicted to nicotine, going through depressive, suicidal thoughts for years, when all it takes is 3 to 7 days. That's all it takes. That's all it takes. This is my video. If you want to motivate yourself, this is everything that I learned and that I gained from quitting nicotine. This is how I went from looking like this to this. And if you're interested in my full guides, I do have full guides to quitting nicotine in my channel, and some for working a 9 to 5, and more content is coming soon. So check that out, guys.